I remember very early on, I was on Pinterest and I was getting recommended the thigh gap challenge because at the
Mhm.
time, there was this challenge that everyone was saying, like, if you do squats, like, you'll get this thigh gap and kind of just this narrative that you aren't beautiful and your body doesn't look good unless you have a thigh gap. And so, I've been someone that's had a relatively like wider body size for a while since I was a kid. And I remember doing like 100 squats a day for 30 days, thinking that by the end of it, I would look perfect, like all the Instagram models. And I was fully convinced that this would work. And then I did it every single day and I hated myself. Like every day I would do the 100 squats and I just felt miserable. And I used it as almost punishment for myself to get to that idolized body image. And at the end of the 30 days, I looked the exact same. My thighs felt a
Mhm.
little stronger, but they looked the exact same, and my hips were not wide enough to even create a thigh gap, even if I lost a lot of weight. So it was really harmful for me early on, seeing how much those ideals were pushed on us without our parents really knowing or realizing what was going on. And then the last aspect I would say, kind of going back to the depression and suicidal ideation, I remember both searching for and also being recommended suicidal content. So
Yeah.
I was recommended a lot of self harm content that really glamorized the idea of cutting. And this was something that actually not only impacted me, but my community. I remember cutting being almost a trend in middle school. One of my best friends, who actually ended up taking her life when I was 16, she was cutting a lot because she was also seeing the same content that I was. And it looked like a beautiful, kind of grungy thing to do. So, again, at 12 years old, I was terrified. Like seeing these things, I can't even express to you the level of deep fear I had when I saw these things, but they also simultaneously made me almost feel a little bit hurt that like I wasn't the only one struggling. So it was a really interesting kind of um I don't know, it was an interesting experience that I definitely wish I could have taken back some agency over, and I wish that adults in my life maybe had been a little more aware of what was going on behind the scenes, but I can't blame them because no one knew at the time what was going on. So yeah, it definitely impacted my life from an early age, and then as I grew up, it got a bit worse as the apps became more addictive and I was spending upwards of 9 hours a day on my phone. So yeah, definitely a lot of negative impacts I saw, and that's partially what informed me to do this work in the first place.
Yeah, that's amazing. And thank you so much for being so honest about that. Like, it cannot be easy to talk about. One of the biggest things that we hear over and over from people your age, I mean, obviously, you guys didn't know, you were kids, but the parents just had no idea, which luckily is changing a little bit right now.